All right, y'all, we've got one of the coolest things I've seen in a while, and something that probably most of you have never seen. We're going to be putting a lithium battery in this cargo trailer, but it's not just a lithium battery. This thing's something special. All right, for those of you who have watched the channel before, you probably know I love to fly radio controlled model airplanes. Been flying them over half my life, just an absolute pleasure. Back in the old days, I used to use something called nitromethane fuel to power them with. Today, most of my airplanes, not all, but most of them have a brushless electric motor that's supplied power by a lithium battery pack. Now, it's clean, it's convenient, it's easy. The bad thing is these things are power hungry. I need a way to recharge those batteries when I'm at the flying field. Well, thanks to a company called LiTime, I've got a solution to that. So check this out. 12.8 volt, 100 milliamp. Thing's only about 2.5 inches thick. I don't know, probably 18 inches wide. I can get the exact dimensions, maybe a foot tall. Super low profile. Be able to put this on a wall and it will be out of the way. Joanne brought up a good point. She said it's a shame you didn't have that when you were building the Teardrop. We could have put this in there and that would have been super slick. And who knows, the Teardrop may end up having one of these things. So what are the specs? 12.8 volts at 100 amps, or amp hours you could say. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery. 1280 watt hours rated energy, charges at 14.4 plus or minus 0.2 volts, has a maximum continuous charge or discharge of 100 amps. That's pretty impressive. And a maximum continuous output power of 1280 watts. So this thing is really robust. You can see this is a metal case. Pretty nice hardware. Here's the positive, here's the negative. Now this little table I have is a fold down table, and I wanted to put that there so I could set my chargers on it when I'm charging my batteries. I'd really like to leave that table there. My hope is to be able to put this battery under it on the wall. And by the way, check out these little table brackets. You can push a button right there underneath, push a button over here on this side, and the whole thing will fold down. Easy peasy. So what exactly will I be installing today? Obviously, number one will be the lithium battery. Number two will be this LiTime Battery Monitor, which I bought with my own money. I just wanted to go ahead and use their brand. I figured it would work well with their battery, so that's what I bought. They were kind enough to send over the 14.6 volt 20 amp lithium iron phosphate charger. So again, that'll be good to have their own charger with their own battery. And I thought about buying a LiTime power inverter, but I went ahead and bought a different brand. And for full transparency, LiTime did send over the lithium battery and the charger. I was gonna buy a battery to put in this cargo trailer anyway, and about the time I started looking, they reached out and said, hey, we've got one that happens to be a low profile. Or actually, no, they reached out and just wanted to send me a battery. And I looked at their catalog and I saw that they had a low profile. And I said, well, hey, let's try this thing. They were on board with it, so here we go. All right, let's get started. All right, so I just realized I got lucky on this thing. The terminals are on the right side of the battery, which I could have mounted it upside down, but I'd like to have the font right side up. This is on the right side of the battery. So when I mount it down here below the table, I'll be able to mount this flush with the top of the table and have the connections right down there alongside the battery output. This is going to be perfect. Look what just popped up out my door out here. Hey chicken, you gonna lay me an egg? All right, this pair of chickens reminds me of a pocket knife. Do any of y'all know what pocket knife this reminds me of? I keep some stainless steel hardware around. These are stainless steel washers and stainless steel screws. We'll use that in case this thing gets condensation inside of it. It won't rust. Alright, so let's put the battery on. It comes with these little feet that mount to these two holes right here. So basically, you screw that into there, and then you've got a flange on all four sides to mount it to the wall with. So let's get those on. Even though it's lightweight for a battery, it's still a battery, and there is some weight to it. It's going to be hard to hold it with one hand and drill it to the wall with the other. So I just cut a couple sections of 2x4 to set underneath it. I'm wanting about 5 inches of clearance from the floor, so stack one on its edge, one on its side, and then that should give us the clearance. As you'll see, these mounting feet have a little oblong hole in there, and it actually came with 4 screws to put them on. The screws are pretty long. I'm afraid they might poke all the way through the wall of the trailer. So what I'm going to do is use a couple shorter screws and some stainless washers, and I'll actually put 2 screws on each slot, one on the outer edge of each slot. So if I would have put 1 large screw in each slot, aesthetically, it probably would have looked just a touch better. But by putting 2, one on each side, I personally feel better about it, because this is going to be in a trailer bouncing up and down the interstate at 70 miles an hour. So now I want to put the LiTime Battery Monitor in place. And I want this thing at eye level just so it's easy to use. What I'll probably do is put it like, I don't know, right about here. That way I can just look straight at it and see what it's saying. And I don't want wires just going up and down the wall. I mean, it's a cargo trailer, I probably could. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a hole in the wall to mount this, feed the wires down through the wall, let them come out at the bottom. That way it's nice and clean. Oh, and my wife is behind the camera, and I'm pretty sure she rolled her eyes when I said I wanted to fish it through the wall. So she's probably just like, stick it on the outside.
It's a darn trailer for airplanes.
Yeah, but hey, it's my trailer for airplanes. It's got to look good. Alright, so using the world's most obnoxious tool, I got the hole put in there. I'm not going to put the monitor in just yet, but it does look like it's going to fit nicely. I need to fish the wire down through the wall and cut a hole at the bottom wherever it needs to be so that I can tie it into the shunt. Now I need to get the shunt in. This shunt is like super high quality. I put one in my Teardrop and it is nowhere near the quality of this thing. So LiTime, you really knocked it out of the park on the build of your shunt. So here's the product manual for the LiTime battery monitor. And it gives some pretty good instructions. And the first thing I'm seeing is that it says prepare for setup before connection. Before connecting, fully charge the battery or the battery system and test and record its resting voltage, and prepare for the setup after the connection is complete. So I could go ahead and put this thing on the wall and run all those things, but it looks like I do need to charge the battery before I actually hook the shunt up to the battery. And I need to check that resting voltage. Apparently this must be part of the calibration procedure for the monitor. So I'll go ahead and hook this battery charger up to the battery and get it topped off before we move on. This connector that permanently is attached to the battery has a couple holes in it, so you can mount this to the wall. Makes it nice and clean. So let me get the battery charger hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and plug in to the battery first. That looks good. And on the battery charger, I don't see any switches. So apparently you just plug it in. And on the end of it, green steady is fully charged. Green flashing standby, red steady charging, red flashing fault. Well, let's hope we don't get a fault. Alright, the fan is running to cool it off. It's red steady, which means charging. That's good. And I don't hear anything that sounds like bacon frying, so that's awesome. So this is probably going to sound bad, but I don't trust any new electronics by any manufacturer for the first little while, so I'm going to set the battery charger outside the trailer and charge it while I go in for lunch. That way if it catches fire, hopefully I won't lose my trailer. Okay, so I have hit just a little bit of a snag, nothing major. I just got this screwed in so I can get the battery charging. That looks good, but I actually have to run a black wire from the negative post of the battery to one side of the shunt, and then another wire from this side of the shunt up to the power inverter, or whatever you're going to be powering. Well, I only have the one large black cable that came with the battery, which I could hook this, you know, straight up to the power inverter and use it, but I really want that shunt. So what that means is I'm going to have to cut this cable in half, and I don't have any connectors to put on there. So I'm going to have to run to the parts store and pick some up.
You want one?
I swear we're a bunch of goobers. Alright, so let me make a little correction. I think I said earlier that this black and then that red cable came with a battery. It did not. It actually came with this power inverter that I bought. But anyway, the cable is still longer than what I need. So I'm going to cut it. Probably, I don't know, not necessarily in half, but I'm going to cut it, crimp some new terminals on it, and then I'll start wiring all that up in there. Alright, so there is one little bummer. I bought a 100 amp switch to put right outside the negative post so I could shut the system down if I wanted to. But it turns out if I put this switch in there and turn it off, that the LiTime Battery Monitor will lose the level at what the battery is. So when you turn the switch back on, you'd have to basically go through and charge the battery all the way back up and reprogram the thing, and I don't want to do that, so I'm just not going to put the switch on there. Alright, that seems like a solid crimp. It's not trying to go anywhere. Now, one of the cool things about crimping your own is that you can make them not only custom length, but a custom direction. You see this one, the paddle on this one is facing this way, and the paddle on this one is 90 degrees. And that'll be great for the way the lugs are that they're going to be going on. All right, change of plans. I'm not going to put the negative on the power inverter yet. I'm going to do the positive first. I always like to do the negative last because that closes the circuit. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to put the positive cable on here from the battery up to the power inverter. But I also need to plug or bolt on the lead for the charger, and bolt on the lead for the shunt. Now, just one small disclaimer. I did not put the protective caps on the battery that it come with. Here's the one for the positive. Over here's one for the negative. I put so many wires on there that the cap won't fit. I'll probably just 3D print a custom cover to go on those. But let's go up here and turn the power inverter on and see if we've got juice. Should be the on button here. Heck yeah. Says it's got 13.2 volts going into it of DC, and it's got 119 AC output. Of course, it's upside down from where I'm at, but it shows the battery level is full. That's awesome. And the shunt is working, or the battery monitor from the shunt is working. So I guess now I just need to go through the calibration procedure and get it set. So basically, to enter setup, you press and hold this button. It goes into this screen. Then you press and hold the up arrow, and that sets the 100% capacity mark. And then you just drain the thing, and you press and hold the down arrow, and it sets the bottom mark. Then you continue to discharge the battery until the monitor shuts off. Then you recharge it fully, and you're ready to go. Son of a gun, it works. It works perfect, actually. It's quiet, it's clean. I like it. So now, when I get to the flying field, I can charge these airplanes off the battery in the trailer, and that is going to be so convenient. Since I fly so many airplanes that are battery powered now, my wife talked me into getting this sign. It's all fun and game until the battery dies. That's perfect for this episode, because this battery's not going to die. One thing that I'm not sure that I mentioned at any point was this little wire coming out here. I basically just drilled a hole in the side of the trailer a while back and put a cord into it where I can plug something in on the inside of the trailer without having the door open. I'll probably just use this to plug the battery charger into. So battery charger go into here, the other end go into here, and I'm charging with the door closed. So there's an extension cord running into the camper. This one happens to have a light on it, so you can see it lit up at the night time. But just pull this out, close the cap, it's waterproof. So yeah, that's how I'm charging the cargo trailer now. I'm gonna need to clean this thing up, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's cleaned up. All right, I've got it all cleaned up. Let's go in here and see what it looks like. So here we go, drum roll. Check it out. That is super clean. Got my fold-up table right where I can use it with the power inverter. What I'll do is flip the table up. I can stick a charger right there, a couple batteries right here for the airplanes, plug it right here into the power inverter, and it's super, super sleek. I love it. And yes, I do plan on making a cover for that positive terminal. That way nothing gets into it. Safety first.
Welcome. I am ready.
I could not be happier how this first real world test is going. You can hear the fan is kicked on this charger here, but this is a hunk of battery. This is a 22.2 volt, 5.2 amp lithium battery. Probably weighs 2 or 3 pounds. It's being charged by the lithium charger, which is getting its juice from the power inverter, which is supplied by this LiTime Slim wall mount 100 amp hour battery. I could not be happier with how little space this takes up. And the shunt monitor is working. Looks like we're pulling 5.8 amps at a rate of 76.3 watts right now. Do need to finish programming this thing where it'll show the percent remaining, but it's working just like it's supposed to. This is the perfect setup. I could not be happier. So when I'm not using the table, I can just fold it up against the wall. Both it and the battery take up very, very little room. Actually, the power inverter probably takes up more room than any of it, and it doesn't take up a ton. So if I would have put a regular battery down here in the floor, when I say regular, whether it's lithium or lead acid, I'm talking about just like a regular size, it would have been sticking out into the walk space. And I want to be able to set something there in the floor. I want to be able to stand there if I want to. So now, with the wall-mounted battery, everything's in play. I can use that space however I want to. This is like way, way convenient. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I saw this in the LiTime catalog. This is pretty awesome. So heck to the yeah. Now I'll be able to put my airplanes up in the dark, be able to have some lights inside of here to see what's going on, not to mention I can charge them while I'm at the flying field. Just so many advantages to having this thing. And the cool thing is it doesn't stick out in the way when you're walking. It's a cargo trailer. It's small. This is a 6x12, so the floor space is at a premium. You don't want to use it for anything you don't have to. I'm not using any floor space for the battery. It's only sticking out about 2.5 inches from the wall. That's a win-win. So I had a blast making this video. Been looking for a project to work on. This was a good one. Just a few hour project on a weekend. I know I'm going to get tons of use out of this thing. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, give me a thumbs up or a like. If you didn't, heck, give me a thumbs down. But hope to see you again here next time. And until next time, take care. We'll see you on the road.